Keep it even lower, 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 almost like a humming. I wanna use you guys to answer to what happened to Five Dog, to Miles Davis, to Michael Jackson, to JB's, to Tupac, to Notorious, and also my sister. I'm gonna ask something. We are all speck of dust, and tonight we are all submerged into this constellation. And the stars is the sun. So I'm gonna ask you to do one thing with me. Close your eyes and hum. Take a deep breath. Let's go. I'll show you. Oh, let's do this all together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Keep going, keep going. The second one is coming. Please, people. This is the third one. I want you to do this louder. Thank you, thank you. And we take this even lower. I'm gonna play with you guys. Relax yourself, girl, please sit down. Relax yourself, girl, take you down. Guys, you can go. Me, let's time, I need you now, cause the band's about to... All right. We are back, experimenting something nice and special. I'm gonna move the microphone here so we can see Mr. Good looking in the back. Sometime. Nigga, who is you?
The son of the angry wolf.
Who are you?
The son of the angry wolf, aka le mal élevé. You know what it is?
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome to what was it called again?
What are we doing today?
It was called Negro.
Negro. Je suis né gros.
Born chubby.
I was born chubby, you know what I'm saying? Negro in French, born chubby. So don't get it twisted. Now we're just gonna be doing a nice little reaction to this situation right here. Without further ado.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Can't be your mommy.
Because I know for a fact I'm not confused.
Okay.
We all are aware of what happened on campus last year.
I'm not.
Great, look it up.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. Today, we are going to be watching a few clips of Candace Owens performing some...
So today, I really like the direction that this gentleman took because we are martial artists. Martial art goes above punch and kicks. Sometimes the verbal exchange, the energy in the room will require you to use a certain level of martial art. So this gentleman did an interesting piece that we're going to be reviewing together.
Some rhetorical Shaolin Kung Fu on some wokies who make the grave error of poking the pregnant bear with some really, really dumb questions or statements. So with that, let's get into it.
My question isn't specifically about anything you really said tonight, although I don't really agree with anything you said.
Okay.
I'm proudly part of the LGBTQ community. I've always stood up for my community whenever I needed to.
Is there a question in there or a speech?
Yes.
You got to ask a question, buddy. I know you wrote this out in your notes, but ask a question. Let's go.
How do you think other people who, with your beliefs, respond to the fact that your hateful and harmful rhetoric costs the lives of queer children every single day, on average, every 45 seconds?
Okay, so this is just going to be a pure boogeyman. You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this. And in reality, you want to talk about the tea. I sat down with a man named Walt Heyer who was convinced to chop his penis off after your community told him that there was something wrong with him because he had confusion. Why was he trans? Because he was molested when he was 4 years old by his uncle. Rather than being sat down and spoken to by a psychologist, he was handed hormone pills, and he eventually chopped off his penis. Walt Heyer is now 80 years old. He detransitioned, and he does a lot of work talking about why it is that he runs a charity, okay, an actual charity that is dedicated to sex change regret, of people who have changed their parts and can't go back. And you know what happens? Suicide rates go up after they transition. After they transition. And Candace Owens wasn't the one that chopped their dicks off. I just want to say, I am not the doctor.
I was really not expecting that. That caught me off guard.
It gets worse. It gets worse. This guy did a very good job, and then this is only the beginning. Are you still with me?
Right here.
Okay.
On my 10 toes.
On your 10 toes. All right, so let you go.
Who chopped off these people's penises. I am not the person that caused them to have that depression after they go through these transitions and can't just magically go back. So as I said, that is a complete, it's just creating an absolute straw man. Your rhetoric has done this. You have no idea what's going on in those individuals' lives and how they are being inspired to ruin their own lives. And so on my platform, I do host people that have sex change regret, and I speak to those individuals because the community needs to hear those stories before they make those same decisions and can't turn around. Plain and simple.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next.
La 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 la, it's the la 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 la, it's the la 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 la. At this point, you should be seeing the gangster shades appearing or something. Mon Dieu.
You know what you need? A better camera.
It is all good. We just live. Considering the size, we're good.
Yeah.
So.
It was just something I just.
Question. Seriously, somebody just give out free hugs or something, and somebody give out free hugs. I can't be your mommy, okay? I'm too pregnant. I can't be your mommy. Next up.
As a non-binary person, what do you have to tell me about my identity? Because I know for a fact I'm not confused.
Okay, next question. Great statement. That's a statement. That's a statement. Okay? You know your identity. You're not confused. Congratulations, sweetheart. Thank you very much for your statement.
Guys, what these wokies don't realise is that whilst they were raised in their little middle-class home with chicken and potatoes for dinner every night, not many people actually know this, but it's well documented that Candace Owens was raised in a Shaolin monastery around enlightened monks and 10th degree black belts in the ancient Chinese arts of Wing Chun and Wushu Kung Fu. Candace was raised like a warrior with strict training and discipline regimes. She would wake up at 3 a.m. every single day, far before the sun had even rose, and she would walk for hours through the Songshan mountain range, and then would train in physical and verbal combat and ancient meditation practices that would fortify her body and mind for what was to come.
3-4天左右，大概的样子能打下来。看到自己手。
You see, from a very young age, young Candace's destiny was laid out before her. The wise elders saw greatness in the child, and they knew that one day
nowadays, you cannot emit a point of view without offending people. This reminds me the time when a DJ called Umar, also known, since we're on the topic, Black Chinese, to go perform into his venue, his events. Like 1 week before his events. Practice all my stuff. We had a conversation, and I told him that I've been doing some house, some neo soul, some R&B since, and then I can sing this song on the funk. So I sent him the playlist. I left the comfort of my house, and then I even left my woman to go into that place. So I sat And I've been waiting for him to give me the stuff. My brother was up. We had the glass. We smoked. I was good, ready to roll. Few women were there, like doing the shimmy, shimmy this. The only thing that was ready for that moment was to drop my rhyme. And I started to wait. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Plus, I had my megaphone, and I even stuttered. Then after 1 hour, I was like, my brother, I'm heading home. The next day, he called me. Then he's like, oh, why you left early? Then I'm like, you think I have only that to do, to leave the comfort of my home and going to a place to sleep for an hour because you guys are not respecting the time and everything? Then the guy went, toi je te connais, on m'avait prévenu, les autres de Urban Science. People are sensitive as fuck. You cannot even make a point anymore. Carry on.
She would go on to fight the woke mind virus with her bare hands, and she would raise armies behind her. They foresaw that the child would go on to battle the purple-haired proponents of gender ideology, and not to mention the snake oil selling race hustlers, and the prophecy came true. And now on to the next part.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I was wondering where you got your statement, your statistic about people who transition, detransition, as well as that you are infertile after transitioning. Because I myself take hormones. I do testosterone injections, and I've gone through a lot of doctors, and none of them told me that was true.
Okay, so on my podcast, I actually cite all the sources. If you look up my name and my podcast, you can, I mean, it's in so many articles. And also, as I said, sexchangeregret.org actually lists all of these statistics with their sources. So obviously, I can't give you a hyperlink as I'm standing on the stage, but you can definitely find it on my podcast, and you can find it on sexchangeregret.com. Thank you for the question. That was, I think, the first question we got there.
Guys, if you're enjoying this video and you would like to see this demonstration of Shaolin Kung Fu go far and wide, then make sure to give that like button a Wing Chun chop. And also, summons your inner dragon and breathe fire onto that subscribe button if you haven't already. Back to the clips.
Hi.
According to Britannica, the definition of the nuclear family has expanded with the advert of same-sex marriage. Children in nuclear families may be couples' biological or adopted offspring. Does this mean that the merch you sell supporting, nuclear families means that you support trans couples adopting, gay couples adopting, and spreading this rhetoric that you talk about?
So you're talking about the expansion of definition. So right now they've expanded the definition of woman to include biological males. This gets back into what I was saying earlier about the left controlling linguistics and just pretending that, okay, a nuclear family can now be two trans parents that are adopting a child. That is not the nuclear family unit that I am talking about. I believe that I am talking about marriage between a male and a female, which naturally and biologically produces children. So no, I do not take that new updated definition of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a nuclear family.
So that's an interesting point there, guys. And it actually goes to show that there are actually many areas now with the woke ideologies that are permeating our culture where we must reject what we once would have trusted. They are now, in the most Orwellian sense, changing definitions and language to suit the woke agenda, which is just abhorrent. And if you're following it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like she just pointed out, and I actually hadn't heard of this one, but they're changing the nuclear family. But it makes complete sense because the nuclear family, for anybody who knows anything about a healthy society, is the backbone of what creates a healthy society. This is unquestionable, and the evidence is too overwhelming and abundant. So because they can't fight it, they have to try and change it and mold it. They have to try and manufacture public and collective perception. They're doing the same with the word woman. We've seen all about this. And also the word fetus is another one. If you look up the etymology of the word fetus, it's a Latin word that means offspring or hatching of the young, and it even at times was transferred to the newborn child itself. Merriam-Webster, however, have made a real effort to try and dehumanize unborn children. The definition, according to them, is an unborn or unhatched vertebrae, especially after attaining explain the basic structural plan of its kind, specifically a developing human from usually 2 months after conception to birth. There are more and more examples popping up now where we have to be discerning enough as individuals to completely reject the mainstream notions that are provided to us. And even more scary, there are going to be times, and this is already happening in some developing countries, more on that in the coming days on this channel, where peaceful civil unrest is going to be more and more necessary. And the next question is one of my favorites because it's just such an unbelievable distillation of such a broad range of woke ideas into one question. See what you guys pick up, and then I'll check back in after.
I've raised my hand before, so I just want to preface that I am have opposite views, but I do want to have a genuine conversation without feeling belittled. So I do just want to preface that.
Yeah.
I am a feminist. I do study specifically academia and the structure of academia and what that looks like for people of color. So in relation to free speech, do you feel that free speech is free for everybody in terms of Western society and the America that we live in today? And at what point does free speech no longer become free?
What do you mean, at what point does it become no longer become free?
Some rhetoric can be harmful to other communities, especially in the way that it's spread in the media. And I think that goes for both sides. But
can you give me an example? It's always easier to, answer a question.
So what I know we all are aware of what happened on campus last year.
I'm not.
Okay. Great. Look it up. So it was just.
You are taking me to a certain topic. Both of us need to be into the same playing field so we can have an understanding of what you're saying. Look it up. Emo. Goddamn. And this is a society you're gonna see supervisors, managers displaying this kind of stuff. And at the end, workplace, collaboration place, people behaving in a certain way with the institution of the music, which is ruled by the Montreal Jazz Fest, and then all you want to do is just to perform and do your arts. Sometimes it cannot happen because people are always behaving as such. The age that we live, it's pretty interesting. We have access to all kinds of information, but yet we don't know jack shit.
Okay. Involving the feeling of LGBTQ members of the community feeling unsafe with rhetoric that's being shared in terms of transphobia.
If you're a man, I need an example, and someone, if you're a biological man and someone says, hey, what's up, dude?
More of there's students on campus that are living in communities where they don't feel safe because of rhetoric of explaining that transphobia isn't accepted. So my question is just how do you think free speech impacts everybody in community?
Yeah, the idea that if somebody looks at a man and calls them a man, that they're suddenly unsafe because they've created a false reality in their own head. I don't abide by that. I think this is what's really happening is that we are celebrating mental disorders in America right now. I had a stalker, a very serious stalker at FBI, ended up getting involved, who had suffered from schizophrenia. He very much believed, and it was a terrifying thing to go through. He escaped the Psych 5150 hold, and he very much believed that he and I were in a relationship, and he would send me about 100 emails a day, okay? In the world of what you believe in your own head now needs to be accepted as reality, I would have had to marry him and raise my children with him, okay? But what was going on in his head wasn't actually reality. And me saying that this person needs to stay away from me and my family because there's something wrong with him and he was threatening to kill me if I didn't, raise my child with him, that was reality. That was something that had to be dealt with. So what's happened right now is the left is trying to make it seem that people who see reality for what it is are demented and are creating unsafe territory, and that's not the truth. In fact, what I think is unsafe territory is for people to be affirmed in their delusions. So I will never refer to a biological male as a female. And if that makes somebody feel unsafe, I'm not following you around. I don't know what happened on your campus. I wouldn't follow you around and say, hey, you're a male. Totally fine. Go live your life as you want to live your life. But when you say that the way that you live your life now has to impact me and I have to pretend that I see a woman when clearly you are a man, I shouldn't have to play that game. That's all. Thank you very much.
So the first thing she says there is, I don't want to feel belittled. Fair enough. Don't ask a stupid question or say a stupid statement and you won't get belittled. Furthermore, if you're really somebody who's prone to being offended, maybe step out of the political arena and do something else. Next, she says, I'm a feminist. Good luck with that, but okay. And then she says she studies academia and what those structures look like for people of color. So basically she tries to find racism in academia. And by people of color, that sort of means that she's not talking about the white people who are being denied places in colleges due to affirmative action, I highly doubt she's talking about the Asian people that are suffering the same fate. No, that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about the kind of academia that is the breeding ground for race hustlers and gave birth to people like Ibram X. Kendi. The place where Marxist foot soldiers are created and propagandized by their professors. The place where these people can get away with this sort of stuff with total impunity. And then she comes with the idea that maybe free speech shouldn't be free for everyone, which is obviously a blatant self-contradiction. And her reasoning is that because some people get offended, which is just the most laughably absurd claim that you can possibly make. And it is just clearly a one-way ticket to a genuinely authoritarian state. And it's not over yet, because then she mentions that something that happened on campus last year. And then she says to Candace, oh, look it up. So much for that genuine conversation.
Great, look it up. So it was just involving...
Okay.
And then she says that the giant controversy that everybody knows about, obviously was a big deal, was that LGBTQ people's feelings got hurt. That is unheard of. I don't know how they managed that. Guys, the idea that somebody like this young lady is at a college, the place where you're meant to go to expand your horizons, to wrestle with
same
deep philosophical
situation
ideas
in
and
the Canadian
understand
Parliament.
yourself and the world better. The world that is a challenging place that you're about to go into. Yet they're coming out of these institutions with ideas such as free speech shouldn't be free for everybody because feelings hurty, is the most glaringly obvious example that you could possibly hope to see of why these institutions are becoming...
These institutions are actually creating all the Trudeaus, making all the ruckus in between Mein Kampf, India. It's like, I have a PhD, I have a master degree, I am smart. Obviously not. It's like, c'est fou. The world